Hey, Sandra and Kirk, thanks for your patience on this analysis. I know you probably had your hands full too during the holidays. Ended up on the road all the way from Kentucky, Louisville, back down to Atlanta, and I've got a sick family now. So I've been slow and not getting as much done over the holidays as I hope to, just kind of maintaining. So I hope this isn't too late for you guys. Take a look at it, let me know what you think, and we'll start getting the process started. Thanks. Alright, so basically I break this down into two parts, active analysis and a closed analysis. Now the closed analysis is what the appraisal is going to be based on. That's very important because appraisers are there to protect the banks, and even if we can say, we've done a lot of upgrades or something that would add value to the property, unless I have the sales to verify it, that's not very helpful. So I have been on the phone with Celebration Homes and talked to them. I'll get to that in just a second. But what I've done in this analysis is I've taken out all the the closed homes that were brand new. So we're only looking at resales here. And you can see here, starting at the bottom, we've got 112 a square foot, 104. As I'm hovering over it, you can see it pop up there. 103 a square foot, 98, 106, 102. 103, 100, 110. You got one of them that's out of line here. Then 96 was really low. And then this one for 117, which I thought was unusual until I realized how small it was. So this wouldn't really be a comparable. Most of our comparables have to be within 200 square feet. So that one's not too relevant. It gets you excited for a second there. And when I come up with the average of that is how I'm going to do my comparables in this case. In reality, there's going to be some other factors, and we'll get to that in just a second. And then the next thing I look at is the active analysis. This is where we kind of lead the market, just like you would lead a pass or something. You want to try to, if the market's going up, we want to try to be there and make more money. Unfortunately, if the market was going down, we'd have to do the same thing. We'd have to adjust where the market was going to make sure we get the house sold. So here's our active homes. Now what you can see here is that in the Cloister right now, you actually have a lot of options. A lot of homes are on the market. It's not what we're seeing in other places all over town. Some of these are not built yet, but we're going through here, and you see this one is failing to sell at 95 a square foot. Has a contract at 97 a square foot. Failing to sell at 102, 107, 92 a square foot. So you've got some houses that are just not moving that are priced within comparable sales. So those are factors that we can't necessarily quantify a lot of it when you have that many options. It really comes down to just getting the right buyer. So what becomes important is how much traffic can you drive. If you're not bringing people in the house, then it's kind of hard to get that one person who says, well, I actually like the master upstairs, or whatever it is that is causing people to pass by some of these homes. Inventory is low everywhere else, but when you get further out of the city, inventory, because of just opportunities to build, inventory is pretty high right now. So that's the raw data. I'm not going to show you how I crunch all the numbers. I just do that on paper, but let me take you through what those numbers come out to and what that means for you guys. So this is the breakdown of everything that we're going to look at when we price your house. There's several factors that are coming into play here that are measurable, and on a new subdivision these are all pretty easy to crunch, but of course you got your square footage, you got your past sales, the condition of the property. In this case there's not a wide variety of conditions because the neighborhood's not old enough. In other neighborhoods we have rundown houses and things like that. Updates that have been completed, not a lot of updates to be done to any of these houses yet either. Basement square footage and garage space. Again, the garage and all that, they're going to be very similar for all these houses, not a lot of difference here. The subjective factors that will bring more interest and make people want to offer more money or make the house sell faster are these things. However, what's really important is that you got to realize appraisers don't care about these things. Busy roads, pools. So a busy road is going to bring down the money that you're going to be able to receive, but the appraiser is not going to necessarily cut a house for that. The pools actually can go either way. In the middle of the summer, it can go up a little bit. The rest of the time of the year, it usually hurts the value. The size of the lot or the yard, you could have paid $20,000 extra for that lot, but it wouldn't show up on the appraisal. I'm really hoping that that's going to be a bonus for us. I am a little worried about the floodplain just because that adds dollars to the mortgage. So, but that being said, a lot of people would like that yard. Access to the backyard, being able to drive around back. Quality of the basement square footage, not a factor here. Storage space, outbuildings, and then the new home competition, which always drives prices down because the pockets of the builder are deeper. So that's where I want to address that real quick. I've talked to Celebration Homes. They only have 2 lots left to build. So they are not a major factor right now. The other thing is the preferred lender is offering $2,000, and they have a buy-in package of upgrades that will get you more stuff, but you have to pay for it. So everything is negotiable at that point, and builders probably do a better job than most home sellers do at holding the line because they know if they give a lot on one sale, it's going to hurt them on that whole street. So they're not a major competition except for the fact it gives people the ability to pick out exactly what they want in a house. So I'm not saying they're not going to hurt us. Yes, they're hurting us, but I've already taken that into account in this analysis because I have cut out the builder's numbers, which his numbers were they were consistently better, but they weren't even better than my highest resale. So I'm not too worried about the builder's competition, except that it just adds inventory to the market, which is always a problem. Okay, so when we look at the closed comparables, what I do is I can do an average, or I can select the 3 most like houses to look at it from an appraisal perspective. I'm really banking that there will be people who just say, I want to be in this neighborhood, because if I throw the net as wide as all of Murfreesboro, then obviously that creates a lot of options for people, and these houses are nicer than the majority of Murfreesboro for this price. So your probable sales price at 97 to 103 a square foot comes out to 243. Now that's where I'm just being straight. I shoot straight and let people know where they are, but that's not necessarily what I want to sell the house for. Just want to be real clear that from an appraisal perspective, that's what the house is going to be worth. Now the appraiser is going to pick 2 or 3 comparables within that neighborhood and then 1 outside the neighborhood. So we can stretch it a little bit. That next part, I just want to ground people in that real solidly. Next part is what we call Fantasyland. And Fantasyland is kind of where we look at what is the best case. This says, what if the appraiser comes in and he picks an average of my 3 best sales? I'm leaving in the builder stuff because they're not technically not comparable. They are comparable sales. It's just that they have an advantage over us in terms of selection and things. But the best possible appraisal, it would be if I took one at 112, 106, and 108, which averages out to 108. So that would be a list price of $255 if you were able to get that, or a sales price of $255. And I am not completely down on that, and that is closer to where I would like to be. However, the inventory is a problem because, as you can tell, we've got houses listed for 97 a square foot that are failing to sell. So I would love to sit here and say, hey guys, well, we're going to list it at 255 and we're going to get it, but there's got to be an answer as to why we can't sell, why we can sell for 108 and we've got a whole market full of houses in the low 100s that are not selling. So at that point, at 108, I am comfortable at that price. That's you guys being realistic and me telling you the truth that is possible. It could come out and we could do that. So I wouldn't turn down a listing if you wanted to say, I want to list it at 255. Now that being said, we're going to go to the next part. That's the best case appraisal, that they cherry pick everything. But in reality, inventory is actually really good in the neighborhood. And we are forced to compete on price. We can't compete on much else, especially with the yard the floodplain thing, we don't have anything we can do to improve the return on your investment. Sometimes I can say, hey, look, here's how we can compete. Let's put hardwood floors downstairs and things like that. But we are really having to compete on price at this point. Your house looks wonderful is what I'm trying to tell you. And there's not much dollars you can spend to make the house better. Obviously, I'm going to have my list of clutter and things like that that you'll need to deal with, but I imagine you guys already know that, and when I drop by, that's not you presenting the house yet. Your house still looks way better than mine. So getting through that, I'm going to suggest a marketing price if you really want to sell it in a reasonable time of $249. That's higher than our comparable sales, and where we know the facts are telling us that the house will probably sell, but it's not as ridiculous as saying, yeah, we've got a product so much greater that we can sell for the very top. For instance, the one that sold for 112 a square foot, that is now comparable for us, but they're going to average our sale against two other ones. So he was able to get adjustments above the comparable sales, and if we had those adjustments, like say none of the other houses had granite, we have granite, things like that, we could pull that off. But I don't think we have the adjustments to get to 112 a square foot. So that's my suggested marketing price, and I'm comfortable up to the 255. So you guys let me know what you think. Of course, 255 is really better set to just rounding down to the nines on the back of that. But let me know what you guys think and how you want to proceed, and I will be glad to get this written up, and let's get started. Talk to y'all soon.